everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.wordpress.com, back again here with another Sunday scoring project, and this time it's a little ribbon slider card. Which you can see here, you pull on the ribbon and there's a little note card, but it's actually loose, so if you wanted to make it a note card and write on both sides, you could do. It's not attached, it's just the ribbon that holds it in place, and you can easily take that apart. So that was the one I made originally, and that uses some of a retired DSP. So what I'm going to do this time is use some of the new in colours. And to start off with, I took a piece of 8 1/4 by 7.5 inch cardstock, and I scored on the short edge along here at 1/2 inch, and then on the long edge I scored at 4 inches and 8 inches, that way, 4 inches and 8 inches, and then I've just trimmed away that outer panel. And what you need to do then is take your hole punch, and I'm just using the 1/2 inch punch here, to actually punch a hole in the middle of the cardstock. Now you can measure that or you can just eyeball it. So punch one hole and then use that to line up so you can punch your second hole, like so. And that's going to be covered up by your DSP shortly. So you can now make that into the pocket. So I'm just going to run some fuse down the outside edge there, and some more on this edge here. And then all you need to do is just fold that over and tuck it in. I'm actually going to just trim away that corner slightly more than I have done. So just make a little pocket like so, and just fold it flush. There we go. Okay, so that's our basic pocket. What we're now going to do is decorate the front of that, and I've got a piece of DSP here, which I'm going to use to decorate it, and then we'll have a piece of Whisper White. I'm not going to attach the DSP yet though, I'm going to do that at the very end because we need to thread the ribbon through, and it's much easier to do that when it's still uncovered. So we put that to one side, and our piece of Whisper White cardstock for the front is 3.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and I'm going to use some of the colours that are in this paper here, which is the Painter's Palette paper. So this is Blushing Bride, we've got the Sweet Sugar Plum here, and the Emerald Envy. So I'm going to use Blushing Bride and the Work of Art stamp set, which is an old favourite, really useful stamp set. You see it has got lots of paint swooshes and some nice words in there as well as some hearts and some splodges. So very useful. So all I'm going to do is just use that, and I'm going to just stamp swooshes across. Okay, so having stamped those, I'm going to come in now and I'm going to use the Butterfly Basics stamp set, which is this one here. And there's a lovely fern in this stamp set. So that's that fern there, and I'm going to do that in Sweet Sugar Plum, just to make sort of 3 different kind of leaves going across. So there are our leaves, and I thought for the sentiment I'm going to use the Emerald Envy, but I'm going to stamp it off. It's quite a strong colour, but when it's stamped off, just for you. You see, when it's stamped off, it's a less intense shade of green, which I think works really well. Then I'm using the Butterfly from the same stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp that on a piece of just scrap Whisper White cardstock, and then cut it out using the Butterfly Thinlits. And these Thinlits are really useful. I've got lovely useful butterflies in there. So all I'm going to do is take a piece of cardstock, using the Sweet Sugar Plum again, just stamp on it in the corner, and then it's this one here which coordinates from the, got a bit of fuse on there, coordinates with it. So I'm just going to run that through my big shot. Okay. And here we go, there's our butterfly. And I've actually done a second one of those already for later on. So that butterfly I'm just going to stick, you can use whatever adhesive you happen to have, whether you can use a bit of fuse on the middle there, or you can use a glue dot. It depends on whatever your preference is. I'm going to use some of the Stampin' Up! Glue dots, which just come on a nice roll here, and you can just easily pop one on the middle of your butterfly and just pop that there. So that's the very front, and obviously what you can do is you can use some of the texture stamps which come in the butterfly stamp sets, just to stamp around the edge, because it looks quite bare around there, so you could always ink it if you wanted to. But what I'm going to do is come in with our sweet sugar plum again, but stamp off first. And it's just like a very pretty honeycomb pattern. That just adds a little bit of interest going around the outside edge of the card. So that's going to be the front of our slider, which is going to go on like so. Okay. And then what we need to do now is make our inner card. So the inner card, there's a piece of sweet sugar plum cardstock to start off with, and that is 3 3/4 by 5 3/4, and we've got some of the Painter's Palette DSP exactly the same as on the front, and that's just going to layer onto there with a narrow border like so. And then we've got a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and the Whisper White cardstock is 3.5 by 5.5 inches. And what I'm going to use is the same stamp set, so the Butterfly Basic stamp set, to create a border. And being clear, it's very easy just to line that up like so, because you can see through exactly where it's going to line up, and particularly if you use the grid paper. There you go. So that's got our border, and then I'm going to stamp the butterfly as I've done the other one in a slightly different colour, as well as in the sweet sugar plum. So I'm going to do it in the Emerald Envy again, but again stamp it off first. Yeah. You can see there it makes it much paler, so stamp off and just have one at the end here, and then do the same at the other end like so. There are 2 butterflies, and then as I said, I've cut out another butterfly to go in the corner there so that it matches with the one on the outside. So again, if you've got time, then you can always use some wet glue if you prefer. And the only thing to watch with this is to make sure when you stick it on, it doesn't come too far over the edge, because you're going to be adhering it to your DSP. So all you need to do now then is use some glue, depending on what you've got to hand and what your preference is, and layer that up onto our card. Then if we come in, I've cut a length of the satin ribbon. This is the silver satin ribbon, and you're going to actually pop the ribbon through the holes, front and back, like so. And you just need to make sure that it lies flat on the inside there. and it's about halfway through. And then all you do is you take your slider card, it's a slider portion, and you just gently make sure it's not catching. Slide it in like so, and you can pull the ribbon a little bit, okay, all the way in. And then once it's in, you can then tie the end of that ribbon with a little bit of baker's twine or a bit of linen thread, depending on what you happen to have. I'm just going to use a little bit of the plain white baker's twine just to tie a little knot around there, because you don't want your card and your ribbon falling out. So just tie it in a small knot like so. You can then trim that off and then trim your ribbon down to whatever length you'd like. And then all you need to do is trim your ribbon accordingly. There's our ribbon. We just need to layer up our adhesive. And what I'm going to do here is just quickly put some tape on 3 edges. So you could use tape, you could use dimensionals if you wanted to, but you don't need to because it doesn't need that much clearance. So I've just put some double-sided tape. Use my bunny ears again. So keeping the clear end at this end, just layer that up. And then do the same, or rather don't do the same, do it on all 4 sides on this one. I'm doing that off camera, apologies. There we go. So there's our tape. Managed to knock my butterfly off. But popping it back on where it was. There we go. Clear that away. There's a ribbon slider card for you. Pull it out. You've got a lovely little note card there. And I hope you've enjoyed making it, and come back for more. Don't forget, you can get all the supplies you need from my Stampin' Up store, either at heidismith.stampinup.net, or if you follow the link below, that takes you straight to the Stampin' Up shop to shop with me. And don't forget, at the moment we've got a fabulous offer on, so have a look at the offer for extra bonus coupons. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.